chips are starting to fall.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where Sean and I watch every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. We're in the year 1966 with the Hanna-Barbera film, The Man Called Flintstone.
I'm Sean, by the way.
I already said your name.
Yeah.
I'm Tennille.
But I just want people to know who I am and what I sound like. Because people are jumping into this episode.
This episode only.
This episode in particular will draw people
One of
to
these
this
days,
long, ongoing series.
one of these days, we'll have a cohesive intro that doesn't take like a whole minute to get out of the way before we actually start talking about the film.
I mean, we need to figure out some way to cover all those bases.
How many times have we had this discussion?
I don't know, a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about The Man Called Flintstone from Hanna-Barbera. So,
Meet George Jepson.
no. And his wife.
Kate.
What?
I don't know what his wife's name is. His wife.
His wife? I don't remember either. I'm
Daughter Judy.
I am very
unfamiliar
with Hanna-Barbera properties, I'll admit.
Specifically, like, I somehow know some Flintstone stuff, but like I don't know anything about the space people.
The Jetsons?
The Jetsons.
Well, okay, because the Jetsons were like banking off the popularity of the Flintstones.
Oh yeah, they were the same show, except one is parody in the past and the other's parody in the future.
Right.
But otherwise
So
it's like the same dynamic.
Right, it's a spin-off show, so it was like the less popular rip-off show of their own TV show.
Yeah.
Like, and the Flintstones was huge, but it fell out of popularity hard.
Like real fast, and then like it's tried to revive with every now and again. Like I know I think it was the 90s they had like two live action movies.
Yeah, this is gonna be my not so insightful hot take, I guess. Because like I've already admitted, I'm not horribly familiar with Hanna-Barbera properties.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also not horribly familiar with the family sitcom animated genre in general.
Yeah.
Like as far as animation goes, like that's a really big blind spot for me. Which
It's
might
like,
sound really strange to people, but like
I don't
that
watch
whole
TV shows like that.
Yeah. So the Flintstones.
It's like you got the Flintstones and the Jetsons, and then like I know there's probably like 20 in there, and then we eventually get to like more raunchy versions that are parodies of it.
Then we get to The Simpsons.
Well, yeah, The Simpsons, which is like a parody of this genre, which then becomes its own genre, which Family Guy and South Park and stuff play off of.
Well, but okay, well hold on. I gotta get back to my ice cold hot take. This is very important. It's just that I think that the Flintstones started this kind of genre, but was just, plowed over by other things doing it better. Like it was cool and it was new, but then so many other things came out that just did it so much better that it's just like, this isn't even worth our time anymore. And that's why like the Flintstones can never come back, because it's never going to have that, it can't be
It already blew
as relevant
Yeah.
as it was in the 60s. Like it was a one-time
Flash in the pan
thing.
And like, because there is one joke. Let's do modern day things, except
In the past.
in like
Prehistoric
caveman sort of times.
Prehistoric times. Yeah.
And that's the joke.
And to give them credit, it is a funny joke.
And they make it work.
They make it work a lot. Like, there was... The only times I laughed in this film was when they were making that joke, And most of the time, it's really, really freaking funny.
But you get bored of that joke after like the 20th time it happens.
You do, but it's still the funniest thing that it has to offer.
Because character dynamics are real boring.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the movie, because we're just talking about the show as a whole, I would say.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, so...
Yes. I feel like it's appropriate to talk about the show as a whole, because this is actually the series finale.
Really?
Yep. Or at least was intended to be.
Oh.
I think it did end for a little while, and then, it got rebooted as Hanna-Barbera shows do. I'm
just thinking about this. Well, if your whole show is a parody, why not go out with the biggest parody of all that is most popular, James Bond? It's just a James Bond parody.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just a parody of James Bond in caveman times.
I don't know if this would be better or worse if I was more familiar with James Bond.
Oh, I'm intimately aware with James Bond.
Yeah, because you actually tried to watch all of them.
I tried to watch all of them. I only got up through, I don't even know which ones. And then I stopped. So honestly, like sometime after Sean Connery, I stopped watching. But I watched all of the ones up to that point. So I definitely watched the ones that they're parodying here.
Right.
Which is
you actually got some things that were in this film, and I was just like, oh, okay.
There's a couple of henchmen, goons characters that, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that the one is supposed to be a parody of Odd Job, and the other one is probably a parody of Jaws. Just because it's like the huge hulking henchman and the small, obviously Asian henchman in a top hat.
Yeah.
Or a bowler hat. Or what? You know what I mean.
With a ee laugh.
Well, that's not so much Odd Job. Like, I don't know if Odd Job really talks at all.
Okay.
Either way, like, it's just the caricature is there. The actual character...
You saw the parody.
Yeah. The actual character in these movies, past the very base caricature, is not like the characters at all. Which is probably good, because, wow, the one guy's racist.
I'm only, as far as James Bond films go, I saw Goldfinger once when I was like... Goldfinger once when I was like 10.
And I mean, this is probably the closest one to Goldfinger.
I don't remember anything.
Goldfinger. I mean, but it's just kind of like a parody of all of them as a whole. Let's go over the plot, shall
I've
we?
also seen like the opening sequence of Die Another Day, but like that's all I've seen of it.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
I mean, that's
it's where they sing the song Die Another Day.
Well, yeah, that is an ongoing tradition of the opening artistic cinematic of the James Bond film. And I'm going to say right now, I appreciate that they stick with it, but also they're not always good.
Well, see, that was...
And most of the time they're not.
That was the thing about the Die Another Day. Like, my family had it, and I remember really enjoying watching the Die Another Day sequence. I don't really remember anything about it now, but I know I've seen it, like, several times, the opening sequence, and then I was immediately bored after that. So I was like, alright, cool, watch the opening, peacing out.
Okay, Die Another Day, what was the opening for that?
I know Bond is getting, like, tortured or something.
You know, the world's...
Are you trying to remember the song?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll die another day. Da, 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 da.
Okay, so
it's
that's
not my time to go.
That's like a really recent one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with this movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like probably one of the better openings, but also the connotations of the movie as a whole is bad.
I mean, it's a James Bond movie.
Oh no, it's bad. It's about a witch doctor.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's like the level of bad we're talking about.
Oh no.
But like, it's a really good song.
Oh. Oh, that's
Used
a
to
shame.
say "Live and Let Live," "Live and Let Die." That's the name of the song and movie.
Right. You know how I know that
Live
song?
and let die. Bow.
I know that song from Shrek 3.
Which is probably parodying that movie. And that moment. In that moment specifically where that song came in.
Is it?
Maybe. I don't know. I saw that movie once, okay? That
They
one was
play
bad.
Live and Let Die when King Harold dies.
Oh, that's... Why? That's horrible.
Yeah. It's like, it's really... Dude, Shrek 3 is a mess. Anyway, we're not talking about Shrek 3,
We're going on a diatribe about James Bond, which makes sense because we're talking about the Flintstones, which has no content.
Okay. The plot.
Plot. Okay.
So, Fred looks exactly like James Bond in this universe, who is named Slag.
Slag.
Something Slag. Rock Slag?
Rock slag.
Rock Slag.
Literally just rock slag.
Yeah, most creative name.
I mean, it's this series, Tennille.
I know.
Flintstone.
I know. Well, you know, it used to be in pre-production, they were the Gladstones.
Oh, well, that's better, I think.
Then they changed it to Flintstones.
Okay. Flintstones.
Anyway.
Meet the Flintstones.
That song is actually not in this movie.
Yeah, no,
surprisingly.
instead we get The Man Called Flintstone, which is the James Bond parody opening song because that's the movie.
And that one has a lot of visual cues from Goldfinger, doesn't it?
Just James Bond.
Okay.
Like just the psychedelic opening is
Yeah.
James Bond. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's always that way.
Okay.
Honestly, this is kind of a silly thing to point out, but it's the movie we talked about last week, Cyborg 009, also had a very James Bond-esque opening
Yeah, it did.
with silhouetted characters on a colorful background with jet text on top of it, with some opening song going on, whatever. Let's try to talk about this movie. Either way,
But Rock
goons are
Slag is in
chasing-
Bedrock,
well,
and the goons are chasing him, and he gets hurt. The goons think they kill him, so he goes to the hospital, and then in the meantime, Fred Flintstone,
Does a
Barney
dumb.
Rubble, and their families are going to be going camping. They're going to go on a vacation, but
Fred does a dumb, crashes his vehicle, goes to the doctor to just make sure he's okay.
yeah.
Commissioner Gordon, that's not his name. It just fell out of my mouth and that's wrong.
No.
M.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm using James Bond terms. The guy that always gives James Bond his mission is called M.
Okay.
Q gives him all of his secret gadgets, which doesn't really happen in this movie. And then there's sometimes other characters. But those are the two that always come back, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
M, or the commissioner guy,
The FBI agent.
the leader,
Yeah.
finds Fred Flintstone. He's like, you look exactly like Rock Slag, so you're going to go on this secret mission instead because...
Okay, the reasoning they give for why this works is because they just need him to look like Rock Slag so that their intel will talk to him so that they can get the information they need to get the green goose?
The Green Goose,
To get the green goose.
who is the villain.
Yes.
And the Green Goose's lackeys are trying to kill Rockslag
so they
can can't stop the Green Goose from using
being
his
evil.
Evil missile or something.
Yeah. Okay. So Fred agrees because the commissioner also tells him that like he'll send him and his family
to Paris
and his other family friend to Paris.
Well, no. They're buying the tickets for him and his family, but Barney Rubble and his family have to pay for their trip, but Fred offers to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because he's a nice guy.
And he's getting a trip to France for free.
Yeah. And then we get a song out of nowhere. About Fred and Barney being
best buds,
a duo. I don't remember the terms they use, but it's just like, this came out of literally nowhere because it's like, he was just saying, I'll pay for your trip. And like, you guys come with us. We're best friends and it's amazing. And we're like, what?
Like, oh, we're singing. Okay, we're singing now.
Okay, we're doing a song number. All right, song number it is. And then they get on the plane and there's a
lot of like
jokes.
Kind of funny like.
I think we'll talk about a lot of like various jokes.
Well, I kind of want to talk about them now because I'm afraid that if we continue, I'll forget.
Okay,
this movie's kind of forgettable.
Then we need to go back.
Okay.
To the very beginning with Rockslag having the high-tech car chase as a James Bond does with the other guys, and they like have all these dumb things like gizmos and gadgets.
Okay.
I just want to point out it exists.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah. Now we can get on to the parody of...
Did it tickle your funny bone? Like what? What about it?
It exists.
Thank you, Sean.
Because it's James Bond.
Thank you for pointing out thing in movie. No, I thought there was quite a few little funny, like airport jabs where it's like, you know, because Fred and Wilma get
first class seats and like they're treated all nice, and then Barney and Betty, that's his name. That's her name. Is it Betty?
Yeah, I think so.
And Bam Bam.
Uh-huh.
That's family name.
Yep. Barney and Betty get like
last class, which is literally sitting on the outside of the plane.
Yeah.
But also they have to like do everything themselves and they're yelled at.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You go that way. And stuff like that. And first class gets flown up in a helicopter.
Well, like last class has to like pull up the elevator by themselves and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they go to Paris, and it's all good. Oh, also, the commissioner has one stipulation about all this, and it's that Fred can't tell anyone why he's doing this.
So he can go, and also he's going to meet a female informant who's going to rat on the Green Goose, because any woman that hears the name Rockslag immediately wets themselves.
Apparently.
And it's like, okay, then why doesn't this happen to Fred Flintstone all the time? Because he looks identical. It has to be the name.
Right.
Something about the syllables of Rockslag.
I think that's the joke.
Sploosh.
Alright then. So, I hate this. Because it's just like half of this movie's problems, like plot holes, or no, not plot holes. Half of this movie's problems, like the issues, the conflict, that's the word I'm looking for. Half the conflict could be solved if Fred could just I am struggling to remember their names and not call them by the wrong ones, so I'm just gonna say the orange one. If the
Velma?
orange one...
Is it
Wilma.
Wilma. Velma, Wilma.
Velma is from Scooby-Doo.
Ruh-roh.
If the orange one would just tell his orange wife what was going on...
I'm sure she'd be compliant because she's a goody two-shoes wife that does anything he says.
Well, they're supposed to have a nice relationship. It's not like, your typical sitcom family where it's like, the stupid dad and like the naggy wife. Like these two do have like a nice connection to each other, albeit in a very 60s kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure if he would have just told her,
she would have been understanding.
yeah, she would have been like, well, I'm really not happy about this, but hey, we get to go to Paris, and I trust you.
And I trust you to save the world, I guess?
Yeah.
Seems important.
I mean, yeah, it's like a non-issue that they make an issue.
Yeah.
But that would be like too heavy of a theme that they'd have to like trust their audience to be okay with. Mm-hmm. Is the fact that, Fred's gonna have to talk to other women, and somehow it's okay so long as...
she doesn't know about it.
As long as she doesn't know about it and it's done for comedy. So instead of, like, having this couple, talk about it and do coupley things and trust each other. No, we can't do that.
We gotta have a comedic dance scene.
Anyway, so yeah, hijinks ensue. They end up having to go to like a whole bunch of other places in Europe because Roadshow.
Honestly, it's two places. They go to Paris and then they go to Italy.
Okay.
And that is it. Also, while in Paris, underneath the wooden Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We meet another agent of
the commissioner.
Another one of the commissioner's agents, Triple X.
That's his name.
And suddenly, questions arrive.
Suddenly?
Triple X is his thing. The thing he does.
He's a master of disguise.
He's a master of disguise. Why doesn't Triple X, an actual spy, just disguise himself as Rock Slag and do this instead?
Right.
But we'll get to that later. Either way.
Plot twist! By later, I think you mean now.
Yeah, because, I don't know.
Hijinks ensue. Fred has to talk to women and not let Wilma know that he's talking to women.
Mm-hmm. Also, turns out the female informant that he had to go talk to, when he finally does find her, she's not actually turning on the Green Goose. She's still working for the Green Goose. And she has tricked Rock Slag into walking right into his ploy so that he can get information out of him about whether or not they have an anti-missile missile ready for his missile. Mm-hmm. But this is all really dumb because it turns out the Green Goose is Triple X.
Right. Which just begs the question of okay, but if he was Triple X, why... Or if Triple X was the Green Goose, why have so many scenes earlier in the film where he's helping Fred?
Why is he helping Fred? And also, why didn't he kill...
But okay, I don't really want to get into this because this is not meant to be dissected.
Oh no, as soon as you think about the plot, it falls apart immediately. I just want to bring the fact that if Triple X was actually working for the commissioner the way he was supposed to, he would already know that the missile is not active, which means his missile is good, so he can just shoot it off whenever and kill everybody.
Of course. But, this is a parody. Mm-hmm. It's not...
It's a twist for twist's sake, and it's bad.
Yeah. It's a comedy, the
That's not the point of the movie.
Of the mystery plot, is not supposed to be what grabs you. It's just supposed to be like a funny, haha, good time.
Mm-hmm. Either way, we missed...
We need to go back now because
we
basically summarized the plot. Then, like Fred saves the day or whatever.
Fred saves the day.
The
I
movie
need to
ends.
explain how Fred saves the day. And this is a talking point we need to come back to, but I need to
Okay.
explain how this works. Fred, while in Italy, gets chased down by a woman that thinks he's rock slag, who wants to marry him with her like mafioso brother, is going to make sure this happens. He gets chased out of town, 50 miles from town, in fact, that he has to then walk back. And he said he was going to go out dancing with his wife, and it takes him all night to get back, when he said he was going to be gone for 5 minutes. So a random sleazy guy sells him fake diamonds for like a penny, and he's going to use this to repair any damages that happened by giving his wife jewelry.
As you do in the 60s.
As you do in the 60s. We'll come back to that.
Uh-huh.
Either way, turns out his wife was asleep and doesn't matter, and he blames it all on her why they don't go out dancing, because she was asleep and he didn't want to bother her. It's not that I was missing all night.
Mm-hmm. As you do in the 60s.
As you do in the 60s, lying to your wife, it's fine.
It's, yeah.
Either way...
Making her feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Either way, Fred gets trapped inside, at the end of the movie, gets trapped inside the missile, accidentally targets it to space instead of, like, wherever they were going to hit. And he has the diamonds on him still. Triple X, or the Green Goose, is like, wait, you have diamonds? I want the diamonds. And then Fred's like, sure, you can have them. And then he opens the door. They run in. They swap spots. He shuts the door because the door only opens from the outside for some reason, which is real dumb. And so the Golden Goose and all three of his henchmen get blasted into space, never to be seen again. That's how he wins the day.
'Tis greed that killed the beast.
Oh my god. So Fred goes home as a national treasure. Everyone loves him. And there are no negative repercussions for Fred going behind his wife's back to do all this shit. And yeah.
Nah.
Because it's the 60s and men are always right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to start off by saying some nice things about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nice thing number one. The concept of cavemen, which is just modern day, and it's making jabs at modern day stuff through the antics of cavemen, that's amusing enough.
Yeah, like, I totally get why the Flintstones was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even more so than a lot of other Hanna-Barbera shows, like, this is one that I can look at, and in the context of, like, when this show came out, I'm like, I get this. I get why this was a thing.
Mm-hmm. Good thing, too. Of the 4 movies that we have watched this year, this year of 1966, it has the best animation.
Yeah?
Because we have Alice of Wonderland in Paris, The Daydreamer, Cyborg 009,
9.
and The Man Called Flintstone. It definitely has the best animation, which is surprising because it's coming from Hanna-Barbera, but also these are all like...
They are pros, like...
Yeah, they're pros, and this is like, oh, they've been doing this for a while, so they know how to slightly upscale for a movie as compared to television now.
Right.
Like, they've learned from doing Yogi Bear.
Mm-hmm. And these character designs are all appealing and... Yeah.
Nice thing number 3, I think a lot of the jokes usually work. Not all of them. Maybe
Not enough that I would recommend this film for its comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this is again one of those kind of like niche kind of things where it's like, if you're a Flintstones fan and or a James Bond fan, you might find this amusing.
Yeah.
But like, how many are you gonna find like in that category?
Nice thing number 4, which is only kind of nice. Mm-hmm. For a man as a main character from the 60s, Fred is a pretty good guy.
Yeah, like he's still pretty likable.
He's still pretty likable.
Even though like
I have to put some stipulations on there because it's like, just talk to your wife.
Right.
And
like I'm still rooting for him, even though I'm like, just talk to your wife. It's so simple.
Yeah. I've run out of nice things. I need to bring up some things that I'm not okay with.
Okay.
The Odd Job character, whenever he gets hit, starts screaming profanities in fake Chinese, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I do not like this. It's not funny.
No.
It's vaguely racist. If overtly racist.
Yeah.
There are like 7 songs in this movie.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the songs.
I don't think any of them add to the plot.
They could have all been cut and you would not miss anything. They're definitely the kind of songs that
Like
it's
the plot goes
all right,
on hold.
We're gonna stop and sing you a song about a thing that has nothing to do with anything else. That, like, it's remotely, tangentially connected to something that just happened.
Like, we have to, like, arbitrarily set up the song just so we can do the song. So, I'm probably going to miss some here, but let's, we already talked about the best friends Barney and
Fred song.
Barney and Fred song. There is also once they get to Italy, they try to do this really bad Romeo and Juliet romance song where the whole time Fred is just trying to get up to Wilma?
Yes.
Wilma?
Yes.
Wilma. Trying to get to her in her tower. And it's...
But wait. They have a song where they're like going down the river, don't they? Fred is singing a song. He does the Italy thing.
I don't remember this one.
I think that's a thing.
I don't think this is a thing.
I thought it was a thing.
I mean, that's a thing in a lot of things, but I don't think it's a thing in this thing.
I could have swore it was a thing in this thing.
I don't think it was.
Okay.
There is a song where they put Pebbles and Bam Bam to bed, and then all the adults leave the room, and these children who never speak suddenly start singing a goodnight song to themselves. And it goes on for like 3 minutes, and we just like... Pebbles looks over at Bam Bam and just starts singing, and
just singing perfect English.
And we're just like, what? This came out of, like, those other songs, like, barely were set up, but this comes out of literal nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, okay then. Hello.
I thought all you kids could say was like, Bam Bam, and like,
Yabba Yabba Yabba.
Yabba.
But no, they can sing in perfect English when no adults are around, I guess.
I mean, maybe it's like the Rugrats thing. They're just like speaking in their own baby language. But even still,
like, what does this song have to do with the James Bond movie?
Nothing. And guess what? Pebbles and Bam Bam have another song.
I think there's like another one in there, but I don't remember what it is.
Well, the family takes the kids to a park.
Oh yeah, and
Because
this is in the point of the movie where...
This is Fred's, like, low point.
Fred is, like, told the commissioner he's not gonna do it anymore. He needs to, like, his safety of his family is on the line or something.
Well, he he has the dilemma of like, oh, well, this is now getting really dangerous. And Fred's like,
I don't want to go talk to a woman without talking to my wife.
Well, he's like, I don't want to put myself in danger because, like, if I die, then, like, who's going to take care of my family?
And the commissioner's like, but if you don't do it, your family's going to die.
Right, because the world's going to blow up.
Yeah, and Freddy's like, I don't care. And so he
Find someone else, like, Triple X.
And so they go
to the park.
And then we get another song that honestly could be cut from this movie because it has nothing to do with the Flintstones.
Okay, but it at least does have...
It adds to the plot.
Yeah, like it actually adds some stakes to the plot because it's a song about how Bebbles and Bam Bam want to grow up and like be a teacher
or a farmer.
It's a song. I'm a kid and I want to grow up and do adult things. And so like it's a song where like Fred can like be introspective and go, oh, if I don't do this to protect my family, then they can't grow up to do these things. Oh no. And then so he decides to,
go on and do
the thing.
And
so like I kind of like this song because of that.
Honestly, of all the songs, I like this one the most. But it has nothing specifically to do with the Flintstones, but is integral to the plot.
I mean,
it's so weird.
It's not integral. Like, it could be cut.
It could be cut, and he could just be sitting there looking at the kids playing, but...
I think it adds to the movie that it's in there,
yes.
But it's also a giant waste of time.
Because it's like all crayon drawings and stuff, and it's not... Like, it doesn't even use, like, Flintstones stuff. It's just modern day stuff that they're showing off in things.
Yeah.
It's like, this is so weird.
Yeah, like, it's so...
It feels like it was made for something else, and they're like, you know what, this worked perfectly here, we'll just stick it in.
Uh-huh.
So, I really like this song as a song. In this movie, it does what it's supposed to do, but it still feels the most out of place, but it works better than all the other songs. I don't know how to feel about this.
I mean, I think that's the best way to sum it up.
Oh, there was one other song. It was the very first song between the man called Flintstone and a spy kind of guy.
Oh, yeah. Fred's like imagining himself
being a secret agent and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
that
just
happened.
like a doo-wop-wah. He's a spy kind of guy.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. And I'm like, all right, is this how this movie's gonna go? All right, because like this was our warning point that there was going to be 7 songs in this movie.
Yeah, I will say I do like the cover art for the album of this, for the soundtrack, which I have on the side here on the set. I think it's just kind of cool. Like it's just some nice art. It's surprisingly nice art. Yeah.
Wow. We talked for a while about this movie.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised, because
it feels like it's the one that we can talk about. Also, I guess we didn't even get into, like, do you have any other context about the Flintstones or Hanna-Barbera for this?
Not particularly.
Okay, other than, like, this is the season finale, like, the finale to the show before it got canceled.
I mean, not canceled, ended.
Ended. I wonder if ratings were low and then people were like, no, we actually like it, and it came back, or the creators just didn't want to do it anymore.
I mean, here's a little bit more context. The Flintstones obviously were massively popular. I don't know it was necessarily ratings were low, so it ended. It was just like they were moving on.
Okay.
Like the show just kind of ended. Because this movie did pretty well. It got positive reviews at the time. And then, like the Flintstones itself, it just kind of faded into obscurity under the mountain of other Hanna-Barbera works and other family sitcoms that would come after it.
Literal mountain.
Yeah, I shared this little bit of info with you, and this is not something specific to the Flintstones. This is a quote from Leonard Maltin's Of Mice and Magic. But in that book, it talks about how when Hanna-Barbera switched to working on television productions, it got to the point where they became so efficient doing TV episodes that they were producing more content for TV in a week than they had done in a year when they were working on shorts.
Oh my god.
Yeah. In a week, they were doing more than what they were doing in a year working on shorts.
That's too much.
That's insane.
That's too much.
It's way too much. And it speaks to the quality of what these shows were at the time. I mean,
we briefly went over it.
I'll forever be grateful that that this era existed, because it gave us limited animation that can work on a TV budget, and that did a lot of both positive and negative things for the animation industry. However,
demo.
that is too much. That is way too much. And because
Reel it back,
animation
please.
is so undervalued, especially at this point,
This doesn't
and
help.
you just have all these old guys working in the studio, and there's zero creativity going into a lot of this.
And
it
then
shows.
he's hit by a frying pan.
It shows, and it leaves a permanent mark on animation for a whole generation.
Yeah.
A whole several generations. It takes animation a long time to get back up from the respect that this era lost to people. You know what I mean?
We switched to television, and people, any respect for animation went out the window, which was not a lot to begin with.
It was not a lot to begin with, but it went
It
plummeted.
yeah.
And to the point where animation was almost dead here in the West, especially for theatrical films.
So we'll really have to see what other countries can give us during this period of time.
And we're not quite to that point yet. We're still only in 66, but
Yeah.
I think when we get to the 70s, that'll really...
By the 70s is the quality of American animation is going to be fairly non-existent. Even if the movies come out, they're going to be this quality or worse. It's just I don't...
It's interesting. Anyway, I didn't expect to go on that whole tirade during this episode, but hey.
I mean, it has to go
happens.
somewhere.
Yeah, it happens.
Speaking of which, next time we're actually moving on to the next year of 1967.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, we had 4 movies that year.
Yeah.
And just looking at the list,
We told you guys these would just get longer every year.
This next year has a lot. And we start off with Band of Ninja from Japan.
Okay, cool.
Let's see what this has in store for us.
Awesome. See you guys next time.
We may stay or we may go. Either way, we always know we will both be on the scene. Nothing ever comes between us, 'cause we are the most reliable, definitely undeniable. It's like we're you and I, both teammates, When I broke my arm last summer,